Hello, thank you for joining me today. Today we'll be working on making a character for the 40k Rogue Trader system. It's a pretty easy system to generate a character in. It's really well laid out in the book, step-by-step process, and today we'll quickly go through it and have a character ready to play. So the first thing we're going to do is generate our characteristics. Your characteristics are basically your stats. There's 9 of them, which is 3 more than you would see in a D&D game. The first 2 are your weapon skill and ballistic skill. They are how well you're able to use your melee weapons and your guns. Pretty easy to kind of understand. The higher it is, the more likely you are to hit. Then you'd have your strength, how physically strong you are. You do have a strength bonus, which will affect how hard you hit when you actually land your hits. Toughness is actually a very important stat. It's how well you're able to withstand like poisons and how physically resilient you are. But the big one is it's the toughness bonus will govern how much damage reduction you have when you do get hit. So obviously the more damage reduction, the less damage you're going to be hitting. How much you'll be receiving. So actually it's a huge stat to have. That's pretty high. Agility is another very important one. It's the bonus is going to be affecting your initiative, so how fast you go in combat. Also, you have a dodge skill, which allows you to negate being hit, which is huge. So you just don't take any damage at all, and that's going to be tied directly to your agility. Intelligence is how smart you are. It's going to be affecting most of your skills. Perception, which is a bit of a weird one because instead of being a skill, it is a stat. So it's just how well you perceive the world. It does help with some navigation, some skills, and if you're using some psychic powers, also that is helpful. Willpower, how mentally strong you are, able to resist fear, chaos. Also, it has some effect if you are using some psychic powers. And then fellowship is just how charismatic your character is. It could be affecting a lot of your charm skills and command skills like that. So the first thing we have to do is you'll be rolling 2d10 plus 20, and each stat will be going in each slot individually. So I can just go roll 2d10 plus 25, and just copy. So my first one will be a 37 for weapon skill, 30 for ballistic, 32 for strength, 36 for toughness, 35 for agility, 40 for intelligence, 28 for perception, a 36 for willpower, and a 38 for fellowship. Once that's completed, in the general rulebook, you are allowed to reroll one stat and taking the new roll. So I rolled a 30. Which is not great, so I'll just put that in your perception. I also have a house rule that once you've rolled all your characteristics, you are allowed to switch to stats. Since I already have the idea of what my character would want to be, so I'll just switch my ballistic skill with my intelligence. So that'll give me a 37 weapon skill, 40 ballistic, 32 strength, 36 toughness, 35 agility, 30 intelligence and perception, 36 willpower, and 38 fellowship. Okay, so the next thing we'll have to do is we're going to have to go through our origin path, which would be this chart here on your right. So the way it works is that you're going to work for the top down, or you could do it bottom up. So the first thing you do is you'd pick your home world, and then that will influence your next choice. So you'd go So let's say if I choose Voidborn, then I can go down and I could pick either the one below was a scapegoat or the two adjacent, so Scavenger or Stubjack. If you were right up against pick Scavenger, then you'd have to go Tainted or Criminal. It does not cross over the map, so you cannot pick Scavenger and then go Chosen by Destiny. And with this origin path, it's going to help you kind of round out your character a bit more and also give some more rounding out for your character, so you have more understanding of who your rogue trader is and what they've been through to get to where they are now. And also, it does, when you get to the end, it also you'd have to fall into your career. So you can't just go down to motivation and then just pick a career. You'd have to pick right into it. That is based on the rules for ruling a character. If your character has a very specific character in mind and comes with a really cool backstory, I may let them kind of pick and choose from the chart, but that is how it's supposed to be done. So with my character, I'm probably going to want to go more of a combative style character, and wanted to go right into Void Master. So Voidborn would be the straightforward route down there. But I think with my character, I would want them to be coming from a Death World. It does make them a bit more tanky. So with a bonus to Strength and Toughness, Willpower and Fellowship gets a bit lower, so they are scarred a bit more from what they've seen in a Death World. And I kind of like how they have a good feel for them. So the first thing we'll do is add your Strength and Toughness. So 37 and 41. And then Willpower will go down to 31. And Fellowship down to 33. So now you do start off with the Survival skill. So you can come down and just put that as Trained. No, sorry, it's an advanced skill, so it'd be put to Basic. Next, you have to choose between either going with a Jaded or Resist Poison. The Jaded talent would give your character immunity from gaining corruption or insanity points from the horrors that they would see in the world. And then there's just Resist Poison. I kind of like the Jaded a bit more. This character has seen a lot and has come out scarred but stronger for it. And then next, if it bleeds, I can kill it, which gives you the melee weapon training primitive. So my character could use primitive weapons. Next would be Paranoid. So my character would take a -10 penalty to all interaction skill tests, so like Charm, Barter, and Formal Setting. So this person is not a high society person. They're a survivor and used to the wilderness. Next, they would have Survivor, which give them a +10 to resist pinning and shock, which are some of the combat maneuvers that you can do. So I just copy, paste Paranoid, and Survivor. Now my character is going to start with 1d5 plus, double my toughness bonus, then 1d5 plus 2. So I can just go to my character sheet and hit the starting wounds. Oh, very fortunate, I rolled a 5, so it'd be 8 plus 5 plus 2, which is a starting wounds of 15. And next we'll have to roll 1d10 to see how many fate points my character will start with. Oof, with an 8. So I'll be starting off with 3, which is fantastic. Fate points, you can spend them to do things like re-rolling, adding to your initiative, resisting certain things, which those repopulate every single session, equal to your fate points. But you can burn a threshold of fate points that would resist you from falling to more heinous things like dying or losing limbs. So having a high amount is really good because it is not easy to gain one. It is possible, but it requires you to be some very lucky in doing some very heroic style things. So it's not something I personally would never give out very lightly. Next would be my Birthright. So I can either be a Scavenger or a Scapegrace, which would be... so being a Scavenger, used to just kind of scavenging for everything I would need. You gain the Unremarkable talent, Resist Fear, or the Resist Fear talent, and I get a +3 of Willpower or Agility. But I also suffer 1d5 Corruption or 1d5 Insanity points. Or I go to Scapegrace, where I'm an orphan and kind of used to thieving, where I get a Sleight of Hand, trained as a basic skill, and I got +3 Intelligence or Perception, but still gain 1d5 Corruption or Insanity points. The character I have in mind is not going to be really much of a thief. Intelligence Perception's not super useful. But I'll go as a Scavenger. Before you add that in your journal is Death World and Scavenger. So for talent, I get an Unremarkable talent. Or Resist Fear. What does Unremarkable do again? Unremarkable, your explorer is going to be very unrecognizable, so people will kind of forget what you look like over time, or just not remember you at all, which is kind of not really what I'm going for. I would probably prefer Resist Fear. So they'll give me a +10 bonus to resisting fear effects, which could be quite useful. And I get a +3 to Willpower or Agility. We have a very combative, so I think having a higher Agility will be nice. And then you have the Lure of the Void. So I can go Tainted or Criminal. Yeah, so it's Tainted. I can gain one of the following effects. I gain a mutation. I can spend some of my starting experience points to select one from the table instead of rolling. Oh, I forgot my 1d5 Insanity points. Oof, of course my high rolling keeps going, so I rolled a 5. So I'll have 5 Insanity. So back to Tainted. You can go Insane. So -3 to Fellowship or 1 Fate point. You gain +3 Toughness. And the Insane would be your peer, and you suffer 2d10 Insanity points. That is a pretty rough decision. I don't know why anyone would ever want to pick that, but that is quite a hefty cost. Or I can gain +3 willpower and have the Ecclesiarchy as my enemy. A few interesting choices. Probably the Mutant if I were to go Tainted. be able to pick a mutation could be quite nice. For a criminal background, I can become an enemy of the Adeptus Arbites. I can't even talk. They would be like the governmental form of the Imperium and appear the underworld. Not sure how much you'd run into the Adeptus Arbites in your game, but you might, so it might be useful. Hunted by the Baron, you get +3 perception, an enemy of the underworld. Could be kind of interesting. Or judged and found wanting, -5 to your fellowship. You gain a poor craftsman bionic limb, or you can spend some experience points to get it better. Not great choices. So if I go to... Oh, did I put a limit on which ones I can get? I'll have to be 70. You may spend 2 experience points to select one result for the table. Must be a result of lower than 74. Which I remember there are some quite nice ones. Now, if you're making, it might seem nice to get a ravaged body where you get to roll 1d5s on the table. If the player is extraordinarily lucky, they can absolutely make an absolute broken character if they get 5 rolls and they roll extraordinarily well, to the point where that character is just strictly unplayable as a start because you'd just be so far ahead of everyone else. Weirdling would be pretty interesting. You get a psi rating, so your character is able to use some psychic abilities. You have to meet the requirements for the discipline. Hulking could make them an extra size, +10 strength, +5 wounds. It also makes you a lot easier to hit. Toxic blood. Gives you +20 to resist poison tests, but reduce your toughness and intelligence by 1d10. But if you bleed on anyone, they take 1d10 damage, ignores armor and toughness, which can be kind of interesting. So a couple of really nice ones would be Tough Hide. You get 2 natural armor, which is huge for damage reduction. Feels no pain. You get the +5 wounds and Iron Jaw talent, which could be quite nice. If I remember correctly, that just prevents you from getting stunned as easily. And Brute, +10 strength and toughness. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that. That'd be a wicked high in toughness for this character. So I'll just make a note. Mutations. I spent 200 points. back up to your origin path. Alright, here we go. I'll put that I am tainted. Trials and Travails. I can go Hand of War or Press Gained. So for the Hand of War, I can get one weapon training talent of my choice, or Leap Up talent, as well as one Hatred talent against your foe in the war that defines your past. Choosing among Orcs, Eldar, Mutants, Chaos Worshippers, the Imperial Guard, the Imperial Navy, or Void Pirates. In face of the enemy, you will never willingly deal with your sworn enemy except under the direst of circumstances, and you must do so. You must suffer a -10 to all willpower tests. Also, given the slightest provocation, you will act violently towards them. Which is quite nice. And Press Gained. When accomplished, thanks to your Shadow Pass, you have packed up some knowledge of the ways that you do not normally have access to. You gain a single skill, a single lore, and you lost freedom, and you no longer want to be captured. I think I might just have to keep going down to the Hand of War. So I can either get the Leap Up talent or Trained, I know, choice of weapon, and I get one Hatred talent. So I will pick up a Hatred, and in the past this person has fought Chaos Worshippers. Hinting that's where this character got their mutation. And I'll get a one weapon training talent. And I think I'll go heavy. Seeing how my character has a mutation, making this person very strong and resilient. Next would be your motivation, either endurance or fortune. Endurance would give you one wound. Fortune would give you a fate point. That's going to be a bit of a no-brainer. One wound is one additional wound would be nice, but having one additional fate point is just way too good to give up. Not to give up. So that'll put me up to 4. Seducing. Now I have all my stats rolled up for my character. This character was born on a death world and survived by scavenging. They were brought into the Lure of the Void. This person was tainted through fighting Chaos Worshippers, and now this person seeks their fortune. So even though this adds a bunch of more things to my stats, it also helps me kind of give more of a history for my character. Now they do give you some sample names you can go with, but with mine, and my character Amelia Grimwood. Now you'd have all of your starting careers. Your rogue trader would be very much the captain of the ship, kind of the leader for the group. Depending on how the group wants to run it, that's kind of make up their own dynamic on how that would work. Your arch militant is going to be a very extraordinarily heavy combat focused character, bringing out big guns and just laying waste. Astropath Transcendent will be like a mage style character, which has some very interesting abilities they can go with. The Explorator will be your Adeptus Mechanicus, so they're going to be very much a skill, tech use, repairing, kind of like a skill style character, but also brings some heavy weapon firepower. Your missionary is a bit of a harder character to kind of slot in. They're very much a faith through fire type of character. Bring flamers and just being very resilient to chaos, which will be kind of hard to sometimes slot in because they are very much bringing the word of the Emperor, but you're also dealing with Xenos and doing some unsavory things, so it's kind of hard to roll that out. Your Navigator is going to be one that's going to be helping drive the ship through the void, but they have their own set of psychic abilities as well, which could be quite nice. Your Seneschal will be very much a spy master. Your second in command, also another very charismatic based character. Your Void Master is basically very much like a Marine style character. You'll be good at fighting, piloting, and all around a very solid character, because that's the one I'll be going with. So this character is going to be a Void Mistress. And then we'll be adding in all your starting skills, talent, and gear. So we'll be starting off with the common lore, Imperial Navy, and War. So we'll just add Imperial Navy, basic, and War, basic. She will have a Forbidden Lore Xenos. We'll be able to navigate. So it'll be a Stellar Navigator. So I'll be able to. So she will be able to navigate through the stars, through the material plane, but not through the warp. She'll be able to pilot. So space crafts. Scholastic Lore. Astromancy. And Speak Low. Gothic, which is just basically your common. Some more weapons training. So weapons training universal. Melee weapon training universal and nerves of steel. Now, it gives you some options for your starting gear. They do offer a Best Craftsmanship Mono Sword or a Common Craftsmanship Power Sword. Best Craftsmanship Power Sword, it'll give you a bonus to some damage. It's not... I guess we'll kind of take a look at it first before kind of explain how that works. So 4 melee weapons. So a sword will do 1d10 rending damage. It's balanced and primitive. Balance will give you a bonus to parrying. Primitive does, which doesn't do much. But it's a mono, so it gives you an additional to penetration. So that'll put you up to 2. And then best craftsmanship will give you a plus 10 to hit and 1 damage. So it's 1d1 plus 2, plus 10 to hit, plus 10 to parry. Which is a pretty good defensive style weapon. You're not going to be able to punch through a lot of creatures really easily. Or if I can go with a power sword, which would be power sword. It's 1d10 plus 5 energy plus 5 pen. It has a power field, so whenever it parries a weapon that's not warp or has a power field, it has a 75% chance to break it. So that's a pretty good way to defend yourself from people. Okay. Also, it doesn't break natural weapons as well. And then it is balanced as well, so I still get that plus 2 parry. So the only thing I would be missing out is the plus 10 to hit. My character is not going to be... It's not bad at melee, but it's better at ballistic, and if you kill them before they can get to you in melee, you don't have to worry about them, so I will go with a power sword. Its class is melee. Damage 1d10 plus 5. Energy type is... Damage type is energy. Penetration is 5, and a parry mod of 10, and it has a power field. Next we'll go back up to the Voidmaster. Then you either have a best craftsmanship hand cannon or a common craftsmanship bolt pistol. So best craftsmanship, it will give you the it will never jam, which is nice if you don't not jamming. But let's look at the damage. So the hand cannon has a 35 range, single shot. It can do 1d10 plus 4 impact damage. It penetrates 2. Has 5 bullets in the clip, so every 5 shots you'll have to reload for 2 full rounds. The gun will never jam, which is... It's not bad, but with the bolt pistol, I get 30 range, so it's 5 less, but I can go semi-automatic, so I can get up to 2 hits per fire. It does 1d10 plus 5 explosive damage, so it does more damage. It has 4 pen, so it penetrates through more armor, and it has 8 shots, so I can do 4 rounds of semi-automatic fire, and it'll only take me a full round to reload. But it also has the tearing feature, which allows me to has advantage on damage, which turns your they can actually turn your damage to quite ridiculous numbers per round, especially with a semi-automatic. Also allows you to hit more crits, because when you max out on damage on a roll, so a 1d10, you roll a 10, it's a crit. So having advantage turns a 1 in 10 chance of getting a critical. It's now turning into a 1 in 5 chance. So you can add up the damage pretty quickly with that. So I'll go with a bolt pistol. As a pistol, range is 30, damage 1d10. +5, penetration 4, explosive, so it's single or double, 8 shots per clip, and a reload is a full, and it's tearing. So that is your starting weapons. Next you'll have your armor, which is guard flak armor. So let's go back down to the inventory. Guard flak armor will give you 4 points all around, which is quite nice. Next is your extra starting gear. Get a micro bead, just a headset for you to communicate with your team. Void suit protects you against, basically a space suit. A last ship token. Rebreather. And you can either have an Imperial Navy uniform or a beggar's cloak. I go with the Imperial Navy uniform. To bottles Amasac. Picked recorder. And a box caster. So next we have our starting experience points, which you start off with 5,000 points, and your starting stats cost you 4,500. So with that mutation I bought, I still have 300 experience points to spend. So one of the nice things to start looking through is your rank 1 Voidmaster advances. And always an important skill to pick up would be a dodge skill. So now my character is able to dodge twice as well. It's from going from a 19 to a 38. So I'll go dodge, 100 points. Now with 200 points, I can get 2 more skills. I can pick up some more piloting for flyers and spacecraft. I can gamble, drive ground vehicles, pick up awareness. But I think I'll put my last 2 points to increase my characteristics. So I'll pick up a ballistic. So I have a 45 to hit with my gun. And I'll go more for agility, so this give me a higher initiative and able to dodge better and drive my craft better. So now that all my experience points are spent, I'll add my my bonuses. So you can see I got character is quite good in combat, preferring more to go with ranged weaponry. Amelia is very strong, super high toughness at 51 with no advancements. So in combat, she's going to have a reduction of 9. So without any penetration, she'll be bypassing 9 damage per hit, which is going to be massive. Even with a 15 dice, health wound pool, she's going to be up and fighting for a very long time. 43 agility, she's going to be very nimble and able to dodge out of the way. So even if first they have to try and hit her first, and then she's going to be quite resilient to it. And then she's going to be, but her upbringing gave her a very low intelligence, perception, willpower, and fellowship, which is fine. She's going to be mainly dealing with combat and driving ships. Yeah, so that's it. That character is done. Thank you very much for joining me today. Big ask is like, subscribe, and please leave a comment. I'm just starting out, and I'd be deeply grateful for if you guys would do that for me. So other than that, have a good day and play safe.